So it was a cold winter Sunday morning. My sister and I got dressed to go to religious school. We each put on something that was a little nicer than the usual Sunday school outfit because it was a special day. Helping one another get our barrettes in our hair just perfectly and dig the patent leather party shoes from the bottom of the closet, we were finally ready. With thick winter coats zipped up high to our necks and warm woolen mittens snug over our hands, we piled into our mother's old silver Ford Fairmont and made our way on the snow-covered rolls with car windows covered in frost. All the way to the temple, we talked about what the baby naming was going to be like. What should we expect? Our new baby cousin Jacqueline had been born just weeks before, and we were giddy with excitement. Arriving to temple and getting settled in our classroom, it was as if someone had flipped a switch. The teacher announced that as part of the day's activity in our class, we were going to make condolence cards to send to our classmate and friend Jenny, whose father had died just days before. It didn't make sense that someone our age could have a father who died. From our life experience, old people died. Not young people, and certainly not people with young children. Upset by what we had heard, we ran to find our mother following our class end, and having stayed at the temple to visit with her friends and listen to her speaker, my mother had already heard the tragic news and found out when the family was gathering for Shiva. Tracy, my twin sister, and my instinct was to go to Jenny's dad's funeral that afternoon to comfort our friend, even though the baby naming was scheduled for the same time. It was then that we learned the lesson. My mother taught us that when forced to choose between a celebration of life or an event for death, we had to choose life. She taught us that Torah says, "Uvacharta chayim," choose life. In this case, it meant attending the baby naming and then going to Shiva after to comfort our friend. And while at the time I could not tell you whether or not the lesson my mother taught us that day was indeed consistent with halakha, I didn't know what halakha was, there have been many times in my life when I've been confronted with the difficult situation of having to choose between attending a funeral or a simcha, or likewise the challenge of going to a celebration directly following a difficult or sad hospital visit. It's probably fair to say that each one of us has experienced the swings of life's greatest joys right along with its most difficult challenges. This week's Torah portion is the perfect example of this phenomenon. The Parsha Chaye Sarah, meaning the life of Sarah, opens with an accounting of our matriarch Sarah's death. The Torah tells us that Abraham mourns for Sarah and bewails her, and then rises to negotiate with the Hittites, those who possess the land, in order to acquire by full purchase price a place to bury his beloved one. The story is strikingly realistic in that it highlights the detailed phase of arrangement making that we commonly encounter upon losing a loved one. And as soon as we read of Abraham bearing Sarah, Torah tells us of Abraham charging his senior servant to go to Abraham's homeland to find a wife for his son. While it's unclear if this was a matter of practicality, with Sarah gone, who would care for Abraham and Isaac, who would manage the household, the juxtaposition of Sarah's death with the hopefulness and impending joyfulness of Isaac's marriage is too much like the swings from high to low to high of real life that it is haunting. Abraham, a man of old age, does not sit idle in his sorrow. He mourns his wife. The text reports that he bewails her. And then, when his time of mourning is done, he affirms life and the need for life to continue. And when the servant comes upon the very beautiful Rebecca at the spring, who graciously gives the servant water and then draws water for his camels, excitement fills the air. And in Isaac's union with Rebekah in the tent of his recently deceased mother, we read about Isaac finding comfort after his mother's death. And immediately following the union of Isaac and Rebekah, we read that Abraham marries again, and with his new wife fathers 6 children who went on to give him grandchildren. From high to low to high to low. The message is clear. For Abraham and for Isaac, life went forward from the darkness of loss. Life went forward to joy and comfort, even to include new love and continued life. And as if to present and prevent what seemed like a fairy tale or make-believe ending, before the conclusion of this very portion, Abraham himself dies. And so while it isn't exactly 4 weddings and a funeral, it is a poignant reminder that life goes on. And perhaps even more importantly, a lesson to hold on tight during the ride, because the highs can be tremendous and the lows devastatingly deep. Each one of us has been the recipient of countless blessings, and we've suffered losses and difficulties. What makes us unique is the way in which we react to the good and the not so good. Have we celebrated as if the joy is exploding from us? Have we fully lived in the moments of great exaltation, or have we allowed life's sadness and difficulties to embitter us even in times of rejoicing? In our seasons of sadness, have we allowed ourselves to feel the depth of grief and anguish? Really, in our core, have we mourned and grieved? Have we taken the time and space to mourn our beloved parents, spouses, siblings, or children? Or have we been too afraid to go to that dark place? And so instead we just keep our chin up, pretending we're okay. I think the power of this week's Torah portion comes from its ability to remind us that life's greatest joys and deepest sorrows are part of what it means to be alive and to be in relationship with others, and they often go hand in hand. To really love means to have our lives enriched, our joys heightened, and even our sadness more profound than had we never loved. But like Abraham and Isaac, we have the ability to embrace the full complement of life's experiences, the highs and lows and everything in between, and we can remain whole throughout. I know for the Rychek family this weekend, their cup runneth over as we prepare to call Ethan and Reese to Torah tomorrow. Their joy is palpable as we celebrate, and our B'nai Mitzvah have worked so hard to learn and prepare for this Shabbat. And I know that they carry with them sweet memories of dear ones that they are missing at this Simcha. The full range of emotions touches us, like it did our ancestors in the Torah. And so on this Shabbat, when Jews all over the world read the portion that tells of Sarah's death, we are reminded that it also tells of Sarah's life. The parsha is called Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah. And that we're reminded by the portion's name that this life, that life's sacred journey has awesome highs and devastating lows. Each one of us is charged with the sacred blessing to choose and embrace life's full complement of experiences to truly live a life of richness. Shabbat Shalom.